Hey, this is Guyby from Vital MX. Ever since the Supercross season came to a screeching halt in Indy, we've all been waiting and wondering what would happen. Were we done? Would it pick up later in the year? Of course, we're still in the midst of this, and there's still a lot of unknown, but we feel like having some hope for the future is good for everybody. We got a chance to chat with Dave Prater, the Senior Director of Operations for Supercross. He's been with the series for the last 2 decades and has seen just about every possible scenario. But of course, this one threw everybody a curve. While this is shorter than our usual podcast, there's some interesting info in here, both about how abruptly the season ended and what we can look forward to in the future. First, we need to thank some sponsors. Since 1976, Answer Racing has been driven by a passion for creating a higher standard, energized by racing and inspired by those who live their life on 2 wheels. Check out answerracing.com for the latest information, products, and news. Maxxis Tires is proud to introduce the all-new MaxCross MXST, a premier motocross tire tested and developed by the king, Jeremy McGrath. Available now at your local dealer. From tubes and tires to MX jerseys, gear bags, hard parts, and a huge selection of dirt bikes, Chaparral Motorsports has everything you need to keep you roosting the track or trail. Check out chapmoto.com. That's chapmoto.com. All right, let's dive in. For those who don't know you, what's your title and role with Supercross?
Dave Prater, and I'm the Senior Director of Operations for Supercross, to oversee the live event as well as the television broadcast, and then just try to keep all the cogs moving forward as far as OEMs, race teams, all of that.
How many years have you been at it?
20 years. It's easy.
Okay.
Start 2000, it's easy to keep track that way.
There you go. Man, up to March, we had one of the best seasons in recent memory, and all of a sudden things kind of came to a screeching halt. I mean, we had killer storylines and great racing, and everything was pointed in the right direction.
Yeah, no, I agree. I like to think of it as we have. So it's not over yet. We have great storylines and everything is pointed in the right direction. We're just taking a little pause, a little break, and we'll be back. But you're right. The season's been incredible. Couldn't ask for anything more. Got 4 guys, like 31 points, I think, separate 4 guys. And those top 2, 3 points, red plate going into Daytona. And then obviously the last lap last few lap charge by Eli to take the win. Just, yeah, it's going great. So excited to get it back up and running and finish this thing out.
Yep. Man, everything was plugging along fine in Atlanta. You know, we sort of hearing bits and pieces in Daytona, and then all of a sudden Indy, it was the screeching halt there. What was that week like for you guys?
That week was crazy. Like you said, we hadn't really thought about it the week of Atlanta, and we got to Daytona and had a few teams start texting and asking about Seattle, because that's when Seattle kind of came, into focus as being a hotbed in the U.S. And really, that was the question. It was like, hey, Dave, what's going on with Seattle? And at that point, everything was status quo. So after 4 or 5 texts from different teams, I thought, well, maybe I should check with the stadium. So called the stadium. They assured me that everything was a go, and that if something changed, they'd let us know. So we went about it business as usual. Got into the office the week of Indy. We have a standing Tuesday meeting just to discuss what happened the week prior, and then talk about things going into the upcoming weekend. And again, it was on our radar. We knew that COVID-19 was starting to be more of an issue in the States, especially, but it's kind of status quo. When we went into Indy, as you know, you were there, we built the track. Thursday morning, I was driving to work and got a call from Lucas Oil Stadium that they wanted to get on a conference call about 9:30. And really, that was the first we had heard about it. So Sean Brennan, our PR manager, was in television studios with riders promoting the race that was in 2 days. So that was Thursday morning, probably about 7:30, 8 o'clock. Got into the office, got our core group together, and got on the phone with Lucas Oil Stadium, and that's when they informed us that they thought the governor would be coming on and issuing a restriction on gatherings of 250 or more. So we waited for that. He did come on. Don't remember the exact timing of that, but I believe it was around noon. And we had to make the decision to let's run the event, but in an empty stadium without fans. We'll still broadcast it. It'll still be on NBCSN, and we'll go from there. And came back, myself and Mike Mewey, director of operations, got on the phone with all the OEMs, all the race teams, and the AMA, and informed them that we were going to be racing in Indy without fans. Obviously, no one was happy about that, but that's what we were going to do. So hung up with the OEMs, and probably half an hour later, got another call from Lucas Oil saying the governor has restricted that number 250 even more so, and it's 250 in the entirety of the stadium, meaning the loading dock and everywhere. So got back on the phone with the larger group at the stadium, tried to work around whatever we could do to limit the number of people in the stadium. And probably 20 minutes into that call, got another mandate from the governor. And at that point, we just knew that there was no running of the 2020 Indy round, at least on that date. So that's when we were forced to pull the plug, and that was probably about 5 o'clock. So from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., the span of a normal workday, we went from all systems go, normal operating procedure to cancellation. So it was definitely an event-filled day for sure. Not one I want to relive.
Yeah, I was going to say, for a live event promoter, that's about the nightmare scenario, right?
Yeah, it was crazy, and everything was just happening so quickly. Like that day was meeting to meeting to meeting, and I would leave one meeting and go to the next, and by the time we got to the next meeting, something had changed. So it wasn't like I went home and then came back the next day and something was different. It was literally hour to hour. So it was crazy how quickly all of this happened. And I think not just Supercross in our industry, but the world. It just happened so quickly, especially that March 8th, 9th, 10th week.
Yeah, before the Tampa round, I got a chance to stop by the Feld offices, do the tour through there, everything else. Right. And man, at Feld, it's changed quite a bit since then.
Yeah, we were hitting on all cylinders for sure. And obviously with all the public gathering restrictions, we were forced to shut down all of the tours. So right now we're in a holding pattern. We hope to resume full and normal operation as soon as we can, but we're like the rest of humanity at the moment. We're all on hold and waiting this thing out.
While we're watching and waiting to see what happens with the virus, get over the hump and all that, obviously we're running out of weeks before the national season started. At what point did you guys figure out, okay, it's not going to happen in the springtime? We need to go to plan B here.
There was probably a couple weeks. So we've been working with our call Thursday night after we had made the decision to cancel. We called MX Sports and Davey Coombs and Kerry Coombs and talked to them Thursday night, and we got back on the phone Friday. And MX Sports has been great through all of this. They actually made the decision to move their dates back to June 13th in hopes that it would give us a little more of a window to get those 7 rounds in prior to motocross. But as we've all seen as of late, there really is no definite timeline on when this thing is going to let up. So it appears, at least at the moment, I won't say no, that it's definitely off the table, but it appears right now that it would be extremely difficult for us to get those 7 in prior to the motocross season on June 13th.
Yep. We got the note saying it's not over. And what are we looking for the remainder of the season?
It's just not over, guy. So we're gonna get 7 more rounds in. I think I know the sentiment among our partners, industry sponsors as a whole, the race teams, the OEMs, the riders, and the fans is they want to see this championship, the 17 rounds complete. That's been unanimous since that first phone call on that Thursday when we're informing the teams about the running in front of no fans and then ultimately the cancellation. But that's the plan. That's the goal, is to get these 7 rounds in. When that's going to happen, I'd love to tell you, but at the moment I can't. There's so many different things. The situation is so fluid and it changes literally. It's starting to slow down a little bit. Now it's more day to day than hour by hour. But we've got to wait until we see what else is happening with the other leagues, the stadiums, and then just the dates, because Major League Baseball has postponed their season now. So what are they going to do? Are they going to run a typical season and run into November, December, or are they just going to shorten their season and still finish in October? So until those other leagues get a clearer picture, and the NFL schedule is supposed to come out April 16th, 17th, something around there, then we'll have a better picture of our overall available venues and dates that we can play in. But at the moment, it's kind of a waiting game, and I know it's frustrating for the fans. Believe me, it's frustrating for all of us here. But
right.
We're running different scenarios. At the moment, we have at least 3 budgets going on with 2 different versions of those budgets, as possible scenarios depending on when and where we race. But we're going to get those 7 rounds in. That's the plan, and that's the goal, is to finish this thing out. And like you said, it's not over.
I know the people in the affected markets are interested in seeing the races go back to there. Are we going to end up in Indy, Detroit, Seattle, or is it going to be more limited to a region?
I don't know. I think that's the thing. I mean, right now, all of those venues minus Salt Lake City are NFL stadiums. So the NFL schedule is going to dictate what we can do, first and foremost. And then Salt Lake City for the finals, where we were going for the finals, that's got college football. So all of those things are going to dictate, where we can play and where we see Supercross in 2020. But like I said, I don't know where we're going to play, and I don't know what the dates are. I just know the plan and the goal is to have those 7 days.
Gotcha. Yeah, I had heard some rumors of rough dates and the span of time. I think the quantity of races trying to happen in that span of time was more than 1 a week. How are we going to fit those in there? Any clues there or ideas?
I think every idea is on the table. You're right. Like, there may be more than 1 a week. They may not be on Saturdays. It's going to be interesting. But again, I'd love to tell you. Believe me, I'd love to tell you, because it would mean we were one step closer to putting this thing back in action. But at the moment, just waiting for all these other factors to line up, or at least to begin to line up, so we can start, figuring that out. But like I said, it's going to be a challenge to get them in before that June 13th date, or get any in really before that June 13th date when the outdoors kick off. So we're limited to a window, which appears to be right now sometime after the Nationals, but who's to say? Who knows? It could change tomorrow. So right now we're just trying to be as vigilant as we can and react to the things that we can react to, and that's the goal.
We had some components like East-West shootouts and Triple Crowns, things like that. Mm-hmm. Does that stuff remain the same, or the plan for it remain the same?
Well, right now, I don't believe that we'll be doing the 3rd round of the Triple Crown. I think what you'll see is 7 standard events, and we still plan on at least doing 1 East-West showdown. It's still on the table whether we do 2, but we'll at least do 1 East-West showdown with the 250 class.
What kind of reactions have you had from the teams? You know, I know you have to deal with the teams on one side, TV on another. You've got a lot of people to try and make happy here.
Yeah, I mean it's been interesting, but the thing that's been, you know, that's really stood out to me is how everyone realizes we're all in this together. We're all in this together, not only as an industry and as a sport, but just as humans. So everyone's understanding. Everyone knows that we've all got our hands full, and the communication's been great. Gotten talked to more people in the last 2 weeks than I typically talk to in a month. All kinds of phone calls, and everyone's been extremely positive, bringing their ideas to the table, and so it's been great. I think it's been interesting as things progress and as we all realize that this isn't going to be just a 1 or 2 week issue, that we don't really know how long this is going to be, but obviously it's longer than we originally anticipated. People were even more understanding. When we first had those initial calls with the OEMs, they were, you know, as anything, it's something different. And so saying that we're going to finish 7 rounds sometime before 2020 is over, there were multiple issues with that. And wait a minute, and just as everyone realizes that this is the situation we find ourselves in, they've all been much more willing to adapt and even offer ideas that we weren't initially thinking of. So that's been good. And like I said, it's been extremely positive all around, and I can't thank everybody enough for it, because I think if anything good comes out of this, it's going to be the fact that we all realize how much we need each other, as well as just, you know, how lucky and privileged we are to work in this industry and, you know, race Supercross. So you got to look at the positives that are going to come out of this as well.
Yep. With the Monster Energy Cup being in sort of that time frame too, does that become a regular round or a super round, or what happens there?
It could. I mean, that's the thing. So right now, the other league that's going to start playing is Major League Soccer. So kind of waiting on the MLS schedule as well. So right now we have that. Yes, we have that venue and that date locked in. But if the LA Galaxy come out and say, hey, we've got to adjust our schedule, they're the home tenant, so they're going to get the preference.
Sorry, guys.
So,
yeah.
Right. So all of that is we're all waiting for that as well. So there's just so many pieces that, like I keep saying, I know, but it's like this huge puzzle that just keeps shifting around. So we're waiting for a few of those bigger pieces to fall into place, and then we'll have to take advantage of what's there.
Yeah, if we just get this virus to cooperate for a little bit, it sure would be nice.
I know, wouldn't that be nice?
Yeah.
Doesn't seem to be listening.
Well, cool. Hopefully, you know, this answers some questions for people and they get a little sense of what's going on behind the curtain. And I appreciate the time here.
Yeah, no, thank you. And we'll do our best to keep everyone informed. And just all I can ask is that everyone's patient. We're just as frustrated as the rest of you. So we'll get through it. We'll get through it together, and we'll get those 7 rounds in.
Thanks, Dave.
Thanks, guy. See ya.
All right, I hope this gives you a little clearer picture about what's going on behind the curtain. While things could still change based on conditions in the world, we've got our fingers crossed that we get to see Eli Tomac, Ken Roxon, and the rest of the crew battle this one to the end. Once again, we have to thank our sponsors. Ever since 1976, Answer Racing has been driven by a passion for creating a higher standard, energized by racing, and inspired by those who live their life on 2 wheels. Check out answerracing.com for the latest information, products, and news. Maxxis Tires is proud to introduce the all-new MaxCross MX ST, a premier motocross tire tested and developed by the king, Jeremy McGrath. Available now at your local dealer. Chaparral Motorsports has been helping riders outfit their dirt bikes for more than 30 years. Today, Chapmoto offers professional advice, online and in-store, helping you find the best riding gear, parts, accessories, and tires for all of your power sports vehicles. Visit chapmoto.com today. That's chapmoto.com. Thanks, and we'll see you guys next time.